Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about some safety tips when you're posting pictures to websites like FetLife or just posting pictures anywhere in general, but especially when we post some kinky or more revealing photos because we all know it's kind of fun to do, but we need to stay safe while we're doing that. So we need to remember that anything we post on the internet is there forever. Even if you delete it right away or anything like that, there is always a record of it. Somebody may have downloaded it in that short amount of time. There's the Internet Wayback Machine, things like that. There are all kinds of ways for that photo or that video or whatever to come back and haunt you when you are older, when you're applying for a job, things like that. So the very first thing that we have to do here is to decide our own personal risk profile when it comes to these photos. I want you to think about what are the consequences if I post this photo. Think of both the most realistic stuff, but also think of sort of the far-fetched things, because sometimes those far-fetched things aren't quite as far-fetched as we like to think they are. So I want you to think about how this could affect your current or future job. If you are, say, somebody that has aspirations to become a politician, having photos like that out there is going to come back and bite you in the ass, for sure. Think about, will your family, if they were to discover these photos or somebody sent them to your family, that's happened to people. What would they think? Would they disown you? Would they laugh about it? Would it just be really awkward for a while and then everyone would just not talk about it anymore? Because I think that's probably your best case scenario. What if you have children or are planning to have children and they were to find something like that? I'm sure that would be, again, super awkward in the best case scenario, but it could be really detrimental to your family. Do you come from a culture where if those kind of photos were to get out, it would have serious consequences for you or would cause you to, suffer a lot of shame or things like that? Do you have internet stalkers? Do you have people that you're worried about or you're concerned about, following you around or just general safety things like that, right? So think about those things, think about more things and decide what your own personal risk level is going to be. We all have different risk tolerances. So obviously, I am a very openly kinky person. I made the decision a long time ago when I started doing pro-dom work that I'm covered in a lot of custom tattoos. There's really no point in hiding my face when you can easily find me because of, all these tattoos. I don't have that plausible deniability. Now, I had fewer tattoos back then, but I still had enough that it was pretty obvious and hard to hide. So it's not like, I could just, unless I wore just a cat suit all the time, which fun, but you gotta have more outfits than just the one. But anyways, you want to think about those kind of things. And obviously we're all going to have different risk profiles, and whatever works for you, that's important. So number 2 is to think really hard about, actually posting a face picture, right? So we can post pictures that don't necessarily include our face, or that do include our face but obscure our identity in other ways. So we can blur our faces, we could cover our face. I've seen a lot of people, it's hard to do with my hair, but they'll do a picture but their hair is obscuring their face, or they'll put on some sunglasses, those kind of things, right? So you can obscure who you are, and you can, depending on how you look, you can kind of have that plausible deniability, right? That's all you really need is plausible deniability. Now, once again, I kind of stand out a lot. So even if I put some sunglasses on, you're going to know who I am. And I don't have that. But you can play around with that. You can crop. You can only ever show the bottom half of your face or the top half of your face, but make the decision and don't show different ones in each photo, because Photoshop is a thing. They can put those together. So you can do that. You can obscure your face. You could just, only ever shoot from the neck down if you want to. There's all kinds of different ways that you can do that without including your face, right? Your face is sort of the most identifiable part of your body, but, there's other things to consider, which brings us to number 3, and that is other identifiers that you have. So if you are like me that are, covered in all sorts of custom tattoo work, then it's going to be obvious who you are anyways. Even if you're just covered in flash, like it's still, are you the only person that has that exact butterfly tattoo in that exact spot? Right? Think about things like that. Do you have unusual hair that will make you stand out? I'm just going to describe myself for a while. Do you have other sort of style, like piercings or other style identifiers that will make it a little hard to be like, no, that's totally not me? Do you have a facial difference or scars or things like that? Do you have a limb difference? Do you have other things that could, really obviously be you, even if your face isn't in the picture, right? So that's what you want to think about is how easy am I to identify, say, from the neck down or whatnot. So lots of things to think about there. Number 4 is probably one of those things that we didn't think about a couple of years ago that we're starting to think about a little bit more now, and that is your metadata or your EXIF data that gets embedded into every photo and video that you take. So this can include GPS data if you have turned on your location thing and any location tags that you add to the photos as well. And this can include the camera settings. So I can look at a photo, bring up the metadata and know what what it was recorded on, what it was taken on, whether it was a phone or a camera and what type. If you pulled up the metadata for this video, you would see that it was filmed on my Xperia cell phone and that it was filmed just outside of Toronto. And that's about as precise as I'm going to be as far as my location. Some of you guys watching know me in real life, and you know exactly where I am, but for those of you who don't, it's outside of Toronto in Canada. Just for those of you who don't know where Toronto is, because apparently my accent confuses people a lot. So anytime that you email or text a photo, that metadata, unless you physically go, well, not physically, but you actually go in and remove it from the picture or the video, it will be sent along with it. So keep that in mind. Anytime you're texting a photo to somebody or emailing it to them, it is going to be included. Now, different phones, different computers, different programs will do different things with that metadata. For instance, Google and Apple Photo, they include the metadata. So if you are uploading it to those services, then the metadata is included with the photo. And it's very, very easy to look at and see where it is, where it was taken, which will give your exact GPS coordinates when that was done, when it was recorded or whatever, and all that other information. Now, sites like Craigslist, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, they strip the metadata from your photos when you upload them. So that is not included and they didn't always do that. They do it now because there was such an outcry, because people didn't realize they had to do this themselves. They were just, taking a selfie and uploading it, and then, didn't realize they were sharing that information with all kinds of people. For the record, FetLife, a lot of you use FetLife. It says that they strip the metadata before as the photos are being uploaded, and so that is not accessible to anybody that can access your photos. And please don't think that just because you can't right click on the photos that people can't access them or download them. They can. If you want to get into all of that kind of stuff, we absolutely can in a future video. But That's pretty much all I'm going to say about like metadata stuff right now, just because it is a huge topic. I also am not super informed on it. I'm aware of it, but I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I'm totally an expert on this. So I don't want to say stuff that isn't necessarily true. But if you guys do want a deeper dive into that kind of thing, we can absolutely do that. I can do some research and perhaps find somebody that does know a little bit more than me, and we can talk to them. So number 5 on my list is what I've just called cumulative identifiers. So these are little bits and pieces of information that you post that you don't even think about, but that if we put them all together, we can learn a lot about you. So if you are posting, for instance, like we're going to look at this more as like an Instagram feed rather than like a FetLife feed necessarily, but if I'm going around and I'm posting photos from, oh, here I am at the local like coffee shop and I have the name of it or the location of it, and oh, I went to this great little restaurant down the road from me and I have the name and the location of it, and all those kind of things. When you put them all together, then you can kind of figure out the general area that I live in. And I've had people do this before. When I was working as a pro dom, I had somebody that just would show up all the time in my neighborhood, and he had figured out that that's where I lived because of some of the crap that I was posting on the internet that I should not have been posting. And thankfully, had a chat with him, told him it was creepy as fuck, and he backed off. It was all good. But that's not always how that story ends. So think about things like that. Think about what's in the background of your photos. So if you're like taking a picture of something and maybe you've got a bulletin board in the background that has like the name of your kid's school, or you are taking a picture and you didn't realize that, you've got some clutter around in the background and there's a utility bill with your full, real, legal name and address and stuff like that. So think about things like that. Think about what else is in the picture with you. And again, when we're doing, sexy photos, maybe, we don't have to worry that the local coffee shop logo is in the background or something. But maybe if it's an independent coffee shop and you have a coffee cup there, so only take your kinky photos with your Tim Hortons or your Starbucks, right? Not your local coffee shop, but do support your local coffee shops for sure. But yeah, there's all kinds of different ways. And so we do want to don't be paranoid about these things, right? But give it some thought. Think about it. And number 6 is probably one of the most obvious, easiest things, but people don't quite understand. But don't post your pictures on both a kink site and a vanilla site. Because if you do that, and I'm going to actually show you guys with some of my photos, because this is who I am and I run a business and things like that. So my photos are on both kink and vanilla sites. But if you are worried about being found out or something like that, don't post the same pictures or similar pictures, right? Don't take a selfie from this angle and then change it slightly. That's the same picture basically. But it's really, really easy to do a reverse image search on some of these pictures, and I will show you guys that because it's very easy. And then if they find you on, say, Facebook, they've got your full name and potentially a lot of other information about you, including your workplace, school, all kinds of stuff like that, right? So just be aware. I didn't make this video to scare you guys. I just want you to be aware that you may be giving out more information than you intend to when you post photos. And that is important for social media in general, but it's really, really important when we are posting more sexual or kinky content, because that can easily be used against us in the form of blackmail, or there are some people that just like to be assholes, right? And they will send that kind of stuff to your employer because they think it's funny, or your family or stuff like that, right? So just be careful, be aware, and understand what you're posting. And if you are worried about posting pictures. I think that's good and normal and healthy, but hopefully these tips will give you something to think about and know how you can go about it in a safer way. And now I'm not going to say that these tips are going to keep you 100% safe. Nothing, I don't think, can keep us 100% safe other than just never posting photos. But at least this will get you along the way. And if you guys have any good tips for staying safe when posting photos, please leave those in the, not in the description, in the comments. You can tell I haven't filmed a YouTube video in a little while. Please leave those in the comments. Let me know what your favorite internet safety photo tips are, especially when it comes to kinky photos. Just please keep in mind that if you are too crass or whatever in the comments, I need to delete them because YouTube will kick me off the platform for stuff that other people say on my videos. So please, just keep it clean. I appreciate that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you in a future video.